Lori, welcome to the Playbook Podcast.
Thanks so much, Alec. I appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so for our listeners who don't know what the Inactive Company is, what is the Inactive Company?
The Inactive Company is a sleep performance company. We are solving the problem of the epidemic of lack of sleep. You got 60 million Americans that suffer from insufficient sleep. This has been going on, long before COVID, but certainly exacerbated because of COVID, with people staying up and having more irregular hours for work and other activities. So the Inactive Company was kind of born out of really recognizing this was a problem, but addressing sleep in more of a changing the attitude way so that people equate sleep or sleep performance with their movement. Sleep is as productive as exercise at the end of the day, but we really haven't been thinking of it that way. So we wanted to change the mentality and the culture around sleep culture.
I love that. Can you talk to me more about the unique product designs? I feel like the product's super unique.
Thank you. Yes, I would love to do that. We started with, in thinking about this and thinking about high performers in particular, and Jill and I both come from athletic backgrounds. My dad was an exercise physiologist professor at the University of Georgia. My mother was a nurse, so kind of grew up very health focused. But sleep wasn't really part of that mix. It was all about exercise and eating well. And so what we decided to do when we really took on addressing sleep in this kind of new performance way was we thought about how high performers like ourselves, I've got 25 plus years in business where I was traveling, raising a family, trying to exercise every day, working and going overseas. So the first product was really born out of, is there a science-backed but easy way to address better sleep? And so we looked at a sleep mask. And it was right before COVID when we did this. So nobody was really wearing face masks yet, and people weren't really even thinking about, am I comfortable or not with something on my face? But the sleep mask has actually been around for over 100 years. And the really interesting thing about it is it's never been really innovated to meet the demands based on science of getting better sleep. The first of which is actually achieving 100% darkness, which signals your body and your brain to produce melatonin and helps you sleep better. So we started with that. We started with, how do we redesign?
Oh, yeah. Hold it up. So yeah, you said the darkness is kind of the first main feature of the mask.
Totally. So, there are either these flimsy sort of silky masks on the market. No offense to them. They're great, but they don't really allow you to mold the mask to your face to get 100% blackout that you need. And then there are kind of these heavier, bulky masks that aren't necessarily ergonomically designed, nor are they that comfortable. So we started with, no matter what the shape of my face is or the size of my features or where they're located on my face, how can every person customize the mask so that they can achieve 100% blackout, this critical factor for achieving better sleep? So, we created a mask that was ergonomic. It was lightweight. Jill and I actually met at a company called Spanx that's based here in Atlanta. I don't know if you would have heard of Spanx.
Of course. Huge fan of Sarah Blakely and Jesse.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Obsessed.
So we were both on the leadership team there. And so we knew a little bit about, high performance materials, technology, innovation. So we took it from that standpoint. We said, let's create something lightweight that's moldable to anybody's face. So it literally fits anybody and allows them to achieve 100% blackout. The second factor and kind of problem we were solving for was also integrated temperature regulation, because that's the number two factor for getting better sleep, right? So if you can, as you go through your circadian rhythm when you're sleeping, your temperature, your body temperature rises and falls. So your body begins to heat up as you start to wake up in the morning or whenever you're waking up. Some people shift workers, might be night. But how do you keep the face slightly cooler and the temperature regulated to allow you to sleep longer if you're sleeping? So we actually have a utility patent on our mask. And one of the
Oh,
factors for gaining that is the integrated temperature regulation we put inside. You can see how thin this is, but
yeah.
still it's 5 layers, including a temperature regulation that really it's used at NASA and other high performance, kind of fabrics and textiles.
Yeah.
But we included that to help keep the face temperature cooler and also address this question we were getting from especially athletes, but really a lot of high performers. And that is, if I'm going to wear something on my face, how do I make it not sweaty? Like I don't want to be suffocating while I'm trying to sleep. So the temperature
Yeah,
regulation was
I
part
think
of our
I think
fabric.
that leads great into one of my next questions. You guys recently did a partnership with the NFL for some like their international travel. Can you
Yeah.
can you talk more about that partnership?
Yeah, this is actually the second time we provided our inactivators to all of the players traveling on for these international games. The NFL and the NFL Players Association really are recognizing the importance of signaling sleep culture as something important for athlete wellness. And we actually supply masks as part of the performance equipment packages for several of the NFL teams directly. But this was
Ooh,
with the NFL Players Association, where they were providing masks for the players for the flights and the trips overseas. So it was awesome. It
yeah.
was really an honor, and we love our partnership with them. It's great. Just last week, we got another order from the NFLPA for the injured reserve list folks. The NFL, when
Oh,
they're on
cool.
injured reserve, they are on their own clocks. They want to get back on the field, and so they really
Right.
are interested in how can I get better faster. And so for the second time as well, we're providing inactivators for all the guys on injured reserve.
Amazing. So you mentioned you met your co-founder while working at Spanx. Was there an aha moment at Spanx when you guys were like, "Hey, we want to start a sleep performance brand"?
Yes, a lot of us, not just on the leadership team, but throughout the company, we're working our asses off like everybody
Yeah.
at jobs. But Jill and I in particular, because we were also trying, between us, 2 different families, we have 7 kids. We were
Wow.
trying to manage very full lives and still stay in shape and be healthy, but we were exhausted
Sure.
all the time. So the conversation around sleep first started with, do you have any ideas for, did you buy that new mattress? Or are you taking melatonin? Or, what are you doing? So we'd almost compete with each other on what are you using to help you get to sleep? Or I got to travel to literally Asia on a plane, but get off the plane and go to a manufacturer and work. How do you sleep on the plane? I got it.
Right.
So we had those kind of conversations just to get tips from each other and
Hmm.
kind of compete with, who could actually feel more refreshed and be the highest performer. So when we both had left Spanx and started our own consulting companies, but I
Okay.
was working with a lot of entrepreneurs for consumer products, developing products and helping them because I'd done a lot of that
Cool. Okay.
previously. And that's really kind of where I came across the idea of the sleep mask. And, Jill and I socialized and talked to each other. And, I said, I think I got it. Like, this has so much potential. It's kind of like what Sarah Blakely did with the girdle and created a whole
Yeah.
category called shapewear that no one had ever heard of. It's this dopey
Yeah.
old product that just needs some love and let's innovate it. And she was in, and there we are.
That's amazing. What's one lesson you can take from Spanx that you're bringing over to the Inactive Company as you build it?
What really intrigued me about Sarah Blakely, and I couldn't say enough wonderful things about her. I felt like I got a PhD in sales just working next to her, and it was amazing. I think my one takeaway would be that nobody knows everything. Sarah, doing what she accomplished, really was never afraid to ask questions or sort of quote look stupid. She was
Hmm.
fine with I don't understand or I don't know this. Can you explain it? So this idea of
Yeah.
opening up and knowing that nobody knows everything, so it's okay not to know. And then the second thing is she really saw inspiration everywhere. Like everything was potential stimulus for a new idea or a new solution, and
I love that.
she was always looking around and being creative around, is there a problem I can solve and how would I solve it? So inspiration was everywhere, and nobody knows everything. That would be my two things.
I love that. You already touched a little bit on it, but I want to talk more about why is sleep the ultimate performance enhancer?
So sleep is the only performance enhancing factor that you can't cheat, you can't fake it, you can't buy
Yeah.
it. There's nothing you can do to
Yeah.
replace good quality sleep. So I think that is the biggest things. People, and really everybody was born knowing how to sleep, but life gets in the way with a lot of people and we start to struggle. But really, sleep is a discipline and it can be learned. And if it just really requires consistency and dedication, as well as kind of finding your tools, the things that work for you to help you get to sleep better. But because sleep really touches every single system in your body, you are
Yeah.
cleaning, restoring, building muscles, cleaning out your brain, balancing
Yeah.
your mood. You're doing everything while you sleep. That's really what makes it the ultimate performance enhancer.
It's game changing. A good night's
Yeah,
sleep, you just feel so much better, right?
totally.
What are some tips you recommend like to pair with the mask for helping with a better night's sleep?
So my thing for the past probably 2 years has been sunlight, light, just light in
Hmm.
general. I start in the
Mhm.
morning to set myself up for good sleep that night because, we
Okay.
all know that sleep affects your performance the next day and it also affects your long-term health. But, in terms of the next day, I start in the morning and I get natural sunlight. I go outside and drink my first cup of coffee outside. Cloudy, or sunny, doesn't matter. You can still get the natural light in your eyes, which really resets your circadian rhythm
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
begins to focus you and prepare you for a better night's sleep. And then throughout the day, I'll manage the light access that I'm getting into my eyes.
Yep.
As it gets to be evening, I'll start, turning my lights down. And my husband and I, will watch TV in the evening, but we turn down or off the rest of the lights or lamps in the room, starting at like 7:30. It can be
Yeah.
lighter, you can still be doing things. And then 30 minutes before bedtime, I'm religious about no devices because blue light's
Hmm.
going shooting directly into your eyes, which is just kind of shocking your system out of wanting to go to sleep. So, no device 30 minutes before bed, and then complete darkness as I go to sleep. So that means no little red beeping light, at the bottom of your television, or, no light coming around your windows, or any light at all. Really trying to achieve kind of this cave like experience in the bedroom that gives you complete darkness.
That's amazing advice. I think a lot of listeners are going to get an amazing night's sleep tonight if they incorporate that in their routine. What's one of the most surprising things you've learned, whether it's about the industry or just consumer behavior since launching the brand?
I thought I knew everything about consumer behavior because I've been dealing with consumers for more than 25 years. But I think, it really taught me when I started talking directly to high performers. And we focused initially on, we knew we wanted high performers because they got it. They knew that sleep was important, even if they weren't getting enough of it, they knew they should. So that's why we got into the athletic market so deeply,
Okay.
with pro and college athletes in particular. We also dealt with the military and military veterans
Mm.
because they get it. And then the medical professionals, they understand and get it. But I think that what I really didn't realize is how people had convinced themselves that sleep when you're dead was fine. Like,
Right.
it's been a real interesting journey to convince high performers and others that to get from, I logically know that sleep is important, to I'm actually going to act on getting deeper, better, longer sleep.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so important. Yeah, it's so important. We'll get into your products in a sec, but yeah, this leads great into our flow stack, which is where our guests share the top brands, practices, and products, helping elevate their game. What are some things in Lori's flow stack?
The first thing I'm going to say is I'm very much an advocate of you got to find your own flow stack. There is not one. I listened to Huberman Labs since it started, and I'm a big fan. But all these stacks, I hope people don't just copy Andrew Huberman's stack and say that's going to work for me. And I love that you asked this question because I think you're probably getting a lot of people's recommendations where your listeners can pick and choose what works with them. I also want to say that, and this is the mother of grown kids in me trying to just tell people, please, do one thing at a time. Don't just throw a stack at your body and your brain and expect it to work. Try one thing, add another thing, see how it works, take that away. And so do one thing at a time, and then also be consistent. So what I do is mostly natural, to be honest. That was the other reason I really liked the sleep mask, because it was drug-free.
Mhm.
I'm not a huge supplement person. I will take magnesium. I don't have a specific brand, but I like
Okay.
magnesium for helping sleep.
Okay.
I take a multivitamin, and that's it. Um, and then I use my sleep mask religiously. I think it's like the little black dress of your wardrobe. I don't
Okay.
use it every night because some nights I just wear myself out and I fall into bed and I'm asleep in 2 seconds. But when I
Sure.
do struggle, I've got a tool that helps me. And not only is a sleep mask drug free, but it's also almost Pavlovian, where I put mine on and it's like, see sleep mask, put on sleep mask, go to sleep is become learned behavior. So my stack, I think, is magnesium, a little multivitamin, sleep mask, and
What
that's
about
kind
practices? I want to touch more on practices. I feel like you've got a great take on just leadership. What are some like great leadership practices when building a business?
So I'm a huge advocate for lean startups. I think that when you're building a business, don't be afraid to test and learn. Get something out there. That's where I did things differently than Sarah did. She was also at a different time, you know, 20 years earlier, but she was very secretive and built her products in, private, didn't really share what she was doing. I'm
Right.
more of an advocate for building out in public and getting feedback as you go. So, once we had a prototype, for example, of our inactivators, we threw it out there and we got the University of Georgia football team to try it for 3 weeks and do a test with it. And they gave us incredible feedback. And then they bought all of our prototypes from us. So I think the
Amazing.
biggest thing is be fearless. Like really do your homework and know what problem you're solving. Solve an
Yeah.
actual problem is my preference. The world doesn't probably need another legging at this point, but solve an actual problem, do your research, and then go for it and throw it out there and see what the response is, because you're not really going to know if you have a true market nor the market size, because you might be creating a new category unless you get it out there and you get feedback from actual users and consumers.
I love it. Couldn't agree more. What is I want to ask one more question. What can you tease any new products that may be coming down the line?
Yes, we're in prototype and testing on Inactive Wear. We really love the idea of this hybrid of sleepwear and leisure wear. We wanted
Cool.
something that packed all the technology and innovation that does help you sleep better, based on
Yeah.
science, into actual garments that are designed comfortably, that look cool, because you should look good, feel good, but that you could wear very comfortably to sleep. But then if you wanted to be in a public space, let's say you're getting on an airplane, you could also wear it out as well. So we have it on our website. We had a limited edition of tests that we sold out of, and we're now in the process of doing a little refining and hoping to relaunch at the beginning of the year.
Super exciting. And then where can people find the Inactive Company?
We are at inactiveco.com. Find us online. Check out, we've got some sleep resources, including our sleep playbook that will hopefully help people. But you can take a look at our products and look us up there.
Perfect. I'll link all the show notes and everything. This has been an amazing episode. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll have to do it again soon.
Sounds good, Alec. Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care.